This is the basic product setup for the MAXIM RX12BC and MAXIM RX12D friction feeders. The first step is adjusting the separator for one piece of product by turning the thickness adjusting screw counterclockwise and lifting the center bar off the feed belt. Center one piece of product under the blade and loosely tighten down. Take a 1-inch stack of product, fan it out, and place it under the pre-stage plate. This pre-shingle stack will hug the curve of the pre-stage plate and aid in product separation. Position the magnetic wedges to support the product using more lift for flimsier products and less lift for rigid products. Your feeder comes with 4 magnetic wedges, 2 standard and 2 long. The long wedges are notched on the bottom so they can be placed over the feed belt to support smaller products. They can also be positioned alongside longer products to act as an additional side guide support. Adjust the side guides, leaving a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch of clearance so the product isn't pinched. Load a few more inches of product into the hopper, then press the jog button located in the rear panel and jog a few pieces out. Product overlap under the blade is normal because product separation happens in the discharge of the feeder. As product passes through the discharge of the feeder, you are looking for a gap between each piece. If there is no gap, you will need to micro-adjust the hold down to create more pressure on the product. Once this is set correctly, you will see a gap between each piece as it passes the sheet sensor, and the sheet sensor will flash, detecting the light between each piece. Be sure the sheet sensor is not positioned over a shaft, spring steel, or other object because this will block the sensor from detecting the gap and will cause inaccurate counts. Let's move into some of the features of the discharge. First, we have this adjustment bar that controls the product pinch point under the hold down straps. This will control when the discharge belts pull the product away, so for shorter products you will set this closer to the gate, and for longer products you will stage this farther down to not create a tug of war on the products between the feed belt and the discharge belts. Next is the adjustable discharge, which allows you to angle the product as it leaves the feeder. This is a great feature for feeding onto conveyors and other objects. Along with that is the height adjustable sheet sensor bracket. The sheet sensor provided is a standard diffuse reflective sensor with a 2-inch range. Always adjust this bracket so the sheet sensor is within 2 inches of the discharge. If this was positioned farther away, it will not pick up the gap and will lead to inaccurate counts. This is the rear panel of the MAXIM RX12BC. You have a standard power inlet with an on-off switch and a 1 amp fuse. 110 or 220 power supply options are set at the factory. Here we have your batch counter, cycle, jog, and stop buttons. Set the batch count to your desired count from 1 to 99 pieces. If the batch count is set to 03 and the feeder is cycled, it will feed 3 pieces of product. Setting the batch count to 00 will put the feeder in continuous run mode. As an added benefit, this feeder will time out in continuous mode if it jams or runs out of product. When this happens, press the stop button to reset the feeder. This model also comes with a slowdown count feature. When turned on, this will slow down either the last 1 or 2 pieces in the batch. This is extremely beneficial in high-speed applications because it controls the last 1 or 2 pieces from shooting too far past the sensor or adding an extra piece to the batch. The speed pot controls the speed from 0 to 400 feet per minute. The MAXIM RX12D rear panel has most of the same features, except it can only be set to feed one shot or in continuous mode. Both models come standard with an external trigger sensor. Be sure to power off your feeder before plugging in the trigger sensor. This sensor is used to cycle the feeder by detecting a passing object, such as a lug on a conveyor, a moving object on a production line, or offline batch counting.